So, what do you need to do? How do you kick this year off? How do you make an SKO that actually changes behavior and improves skills? Well, let's stick with our theme of C's here. You've got to challenge them. You've got to coach them. You've got to certify them. And you have to commit. So let's talk about each of those. On the challenge side, this is the most important thing, and this sets the stage for everything else. You have to push them, and you have to get them to realize that they are not at their peak yet. And this is a problem with so many SKOs, by the way. It's like leaders come in and tell their team, "You're the best ever. You guys are amazing. You're at your peak." And how can they change when they're hearing that? And even when you then say, "Oh, here's some things we can do better," has no impact. They don't feel like they need to change. This is why the preseason camps in sports are so important. When you set a time that they need to be able to run in, exercises they need to be able to complete, and their first few times doing those, they fail, they realize that they're here and they need to be here. And that's an important mental state for them to, a mental realization for them to come to. That growth has to happen. And you have to do that at your SKO too. You have to show them why there is room to grow and there are skills to be developed that will catapult them forward. You have to challenge them. And that means you have to put them in situations where they fail, where their skills prove not to be sufficient. That's a topic for another day, but that is so important that you set that stage and give them that aha moment where they realize maybe last year was pretty good, but there's a big step I can take this year. So that's number one. You have to challenge their thinking. Number two, you have to coach them. And that means you have to know what good looks like. And you have to have coaches who are experts in the things that they're going to teach them. Ideally, you want coaches that were born to teach, that have that teacher's heart and teacher's mentality. And then you have to build that training and coaching into your culture. It has to be something that managers are responsible for. It has to be something that you have professional coaches that are helping with. But even other teams need to be involved with this so it becomes part of that culture and we have that unified language for what good looks like and how to coach. And then you have to certify, and that means you test people. That means when you've defined what good looks like, you hold people accountable to that. Not the end results, by the way. In a sales organization, you are always going to be held to the end results of hitting your numbers, attaining quota, those kind of things. I'm talking about the leading indicators. In the moment, for each critical conversation that sellers have, can you certify their ability to effectively execute that conversation? And that means you also have to fail people. You heard that right. You have to fail people. And that means in SKO even. When you say, look, we're going to focus on this conversation, or maybe this element of a conversation. Here's what good looks like. Here's the scorecard. And when people stand up on stage and deliver, you have to be willing to say, of the 10 things you needed to do, you got 6 of them right. These 4 need to change. Go back, rework it, try it again. You have to fail them so that the certification matters, that the certification means something when they pass. And then, by the way, once they pass, you have to celebrate that. That has to mean something as well. And that's a big win. It becomes a real win for a person rather than just a check the box exercise. And that changes the tone and the temperament of the SKO. And then our final C here is commit. You have to hold people accountable. You have to make sure that they are focused on that goal, responsible for it, committed to it, and all the behaviors, all the actions, everything for that year is building towards that goal. So, you want a spectacular year. You want to change behavior. You want people coming out of SKO like they were shot out of a cannon. Then challenge them, coach them, certify them, and commit to the change that will take your company to the next level. That's how you set your team up for success.